In its 13th year as a franchise in the United Soccer League, it is a time of transition for the Harrisburg City Islanders. After a 5-year association with Philadelphia Union, Harrisburg City now finds itself playing as an independent entering the 2016 season, and that's not the only thing that's changed with the Islanders. Ever since 2004, when they started as a professional franchise, Harrisburg City played its games in the Skyline Sports Complex. Now they are going to move into neighboring FMB Field and even play some games this year at the nearby Skyline Sports Complex, home of the Harrisburg Senators of the Eastern League. And tonight, Harrisburg City and the home team, Charlotte Independence, have one thing in common. They're playing their second game of the season, and both are searching for its first victory of 2016. Tonight, Charlotte playing its second home game of the year, just as they did last year against Harrisburg City. And just as they did last year, Independence welcomes the Islanders, searching for its first win of the new campaign. And good evening here. Thank you for joining us on YouTube. I'm Jeff Hamlin as we are live here this evening, gearing up for two teams that lost its first game last week. Charlotte lost in as heartbreaking a fashion as possible, giving up a goal on a free kick on the final kick of the game against Louisville City, as LCFC came away with a 1-0 victory here to break the hearts of Charlotte faithful, going up against the Harrisburg City team that lost in the capital of Richmond, capital of Virginia, I should say, in City Stadium in Richmond to the Richmond Kickers 3-1. Dave Hodges is by my side tonight. I want to say hello to Patrick Daca, who would be with us tonight, but his youth team is in Atlanta.
Yes, they are. Just
wound up competing and advancing to another level, and that means Patrick couldn't join us tonight. He's got a match coming up tomorrow morning, and Dave's back with us here once again.
Good evening, Jeff.
Good evening to you, Dave. Interesting thing regarding Harrisburg City, last year when they had the partnership with Philadelphia Union, one thing you can count on, there'd be plenty of goals scored.
Most definitely. As you mentioned, they tied for fifth with most goals scored in the USL last season, but also gave up the second most goals last season. So, yeah, definitely Harrisburg, obviously, well, of course, both teams want to get their first W of the year, get into the point column. But so both teams are going to be playing probably lights out, good football tonight. And, you know, Jan Ekra has spent the last two seasons with the Harrisburg City Islanders, facing his old mates for the first time this season. You know he's going to come out with fire in his belly and want to get either a goal, well, definitely a goal, most importantly, get that first W for the Charlotte Independence.
Charlotte last week only had 3 shots on net. They were pretty darn tame offensively in the grand scheme of things in the second half against LCFC. And one thing that Coach Mike Jeffries has decided to do tonight, he's decided to put John Michael Davidson in the starting lineup. Now, Davidson is a veteran of leagues in Japan and the East, and now he comes to America. Last week, he talked about wanting Davidson to get a little more feeling in his legs for a 90-minute soccer game, something he hasn't had in quite some time. You would think that with the inclusion of Davidson in the starting lineup, that means he wants offense, and he wants it now.
Most definitely. You definitely want to get the first goal, set pace of the game, and feel like you're not so much, your back's against the wall. You just want to go out, control the pace of the game, and, again, definitely get that first W.
We have the Novant Health player escorts coming up here in just a moment. But first of all, the Ortho Carolina starting lineup. Ortho Carolina is proud to be the presenting sponsor and official team physician of your Charlotte Independence. Ortho Carolina, you improved. We mentioned Harrisburg City, and they bring back some new faces, even though their partnership with Philadelphia Union came to an end. In fact, they had 5 consecutive years where they played friendlies with the MLS squad, Philadelphia Union, but as has become the pattern with a lot of teams, a lot of MLS squads just go ahead and start up their own USL team, and that's what Philadelphia Union did with Bethlehem Steel. The Ortho Carolina starting lineup in net for Harrisburg City will be Nick Noble, the veteran goalkeeper in his 4th year. He'll be in net, the back line, 4 defenders, Jamie Thomas, Shane Johnson, Dante Leverock, who scored last year in Charlotte the equalizing goal, along with Sean McClaws. Midfielder, there'll be Jose Barrio, who scored last week against Richmond, Barbie Warshaw, and Josh Hughes. Paul Wilson will be also a midfielder, and they'll go with a 2-man front. Craig Foster will make his first start of the season for Harrisburg City. Aaron Wheeler, the other striker. As for Charlotte Independence, it'll be Corey Mazzell starting in net for the second straight week. The back line is Jet Metcalf, Belisle Duckett, Patrick Slodgick, and Henry Kalungi. Midfielder, we mentioned John Michael Davidson and Jan Acra. He'll join Jorge Herrera and David Estrada. And the forwards, Caleb Calvert and Brian Brown making his first start. We'll tell you more about that in just a second, but first our national anthem here from Ramblewood Soccer Complex. See the players out on the field, accompanied by members of the Charlotte Youth Soccer Academy. That's the Novant Health Player Escorts. Novant Health, the official healthcare provider of Charlotte Independence. Novant, improving the health of our community, one person at a time. The head coach of Harrisburg City, starting his 13th season, is Bill Becker. And he is one of those lost generation of players that could have played in America and an outdoor league had the North American Soccer League of Pele and Giorgio Ciancala, the New York Cosmos, it all back in the late 70s and early 80s had stayed alive, but unfortunately it folded in 1985, and Becher was one of a generation of players realizing that if you wanted to play professionally, you had to do so indoors. Becher did that, played with 6 indoor teams in a variety of leagues, including the Harrisburg Heat for 8 years. He also played with the Fort Wayne Flames, the Indiana Kick, the St. Louis Ambush, and the Arizona Sand Sharks of a league called the Continental Indoor Soccer League. But finally, he got to go back to his true love of coaching outdoor soccer, and he's been doing that in Harrisburg City now for 13 years, where he has won 120 games with the Islanders. He's guided them to the USL Championship game twice, including a surprise run in 2014. Harrisburg City made the playoffs 4 straight years. That string came to an end last year when they finished 8th in the Eastern Conference, 1 point behind Charlotte Independence. They finished with 39 points. Independence had 40, and they missed the playoffs by 1 point. Independence coming out after their loss to Louisville City last week, coached by Mike Jeffries. Notched only 3 shots on net during the second half, and Independence will have to improve on that, certainly, Dave, tonight if they are to come out on top. And Independence, we mentioned earlier, going to start Brian Brown, John Michael Davidson, some new faces in the starting lineup. Enzo Martinez is on the bench to start this one tonight. We'll see how much of an impact that has. Want to say hello to a special viewer out in San Jose, California tonight. She's nursing a little bit of pneumonia, but she'll be back up at Enum before too much longer, and she is an avid soccer fan who played in high school and was even watching last week and texted me after the game, said that was a tough way to lose, but it was a beautiful goal that Louisville City scored, and indeed it was a gorgeous goal. And
it was.
Charlotte's hoping that the result will turn around in its favor tonight. Wind is blowing strongly to the south here tonight as we gear up for action. Jorge Herrera will gather the ball at midfield, and we're all set here between 2 teams that lost its opening game. Charlotte Independence and Harrisburg City. Charlotte will head out on the road next week for the first game of the Queen City Cup Challenge against FC Cincinnati, who suffered an eerily similar fate to Independence last week. Cincinnati took on Charleston. We'll tell you more about that later. First of all, at midfield, Brian Brown playing his first game with Independence along with Jorge Herrera. And we are underway as fans who managed to elude Final Four fever have made their way out for a little bit of soccer this evening at Ramblewood Soccer Complex as Independent starts up its second game of the season and the final game of this two-game homestand. And coming up the near sideline is Craig Foster, who boots it toward the net, but coming out of net, Cody Mazzell will end any threat. The 24-year-old Mazzell, the native of Woodstock, Georgia, and Georgia very well represented in this game as well. More on that in just a moment. Mazzell sent to the far end of the field. It is Belial Duckett wearing the captain's armband for the second straight week this week. Sends it away to the former Harrisburg City Islander, number 9, Jan Akra.
Belial Duckett also played some of his soccer up in the Pennsylvania area.
That's exactly right. And there is John Michael Davidson making his first start for Independence. Patrick Slogic playing a little further up the field, and foul called there against Harrisburg City, who are in the white uniforms. Independence going with their traditional home garb, royal blue with white trim. And we're happier with us here. We look at the far end of the field and see the press box is coming along quite nicely here. It should be set up before summer begins, as a matter of fact, and we anxiously await that as the wind continues to blow south here. And Jack's Militia in the south end zone having its wind and its flags stand up because of the wind to the far end of the field. Harrisburg City gave up 3 goals last week before it could notch its only goal in the second half against the Richmond Kickers. That came in the 47th minute when the former Real Madrid product, Jose Barrio, wound up scoring on an assist from a man who's also in the starting lineup tonight, Paul Wilson. The country of Jamaica also well represented tonight. We mentioned a moment ago Craig Foster, who made that charge in and net. Wilson started his career with Portmore United FC, representing the U15 team in Jamaica.
Real Madrid victorious today in El Clasico.
That's
against
right.
Barcelona, 2-1 victory.
Ends somewhat, at least for now, Barcelona's dominance, which the reigning Champions League and World Club champions have been experiencing. Foster breaks in, Duckett there to shut him down. Coming up from behind, Foster now brings it to penalty spot. He fires and he scores!
Just like that, Harrisburg City Islanders are on top in the 3rd minute.
Boy, just careless back line play there, and Craig Foster simply eluded Belial Duckett. Keeping that ball alive was Jamie Thomas, and Craig Foster, in just the 3rd minute of the game, winds up scoring. Foster came aboard at mid-season last year for Harrisburg City. Wound up scoring 8 goals, and here, the product of Jamaica puts Harrisburg City up right away, 1-0. So Craig Foster with the goal early. He played for Reno NC, the former Jamaica Premier League Player of the Year in 2010 and 2011. He won the Golden Boot in 20 league games in the 2014-2015 Premier League season, and a disappointing start for Independence here at home.
Might have been a little traffic right in front of Mizell right there as well, as the box was pretty crowded with players.
But Foster's dribbling wound up ruining that back line as Metcalf charges back the other way and right back, plays it along to Brian Brown. That attempt shut off quickly. Tripped up, Brown keeps the ball alive. Here comes John Ekra, sends it in. Herrera was waiting on it, but Shane Johnson got in to intercede and end that threat. Now back the other end of the field, Paul Wilson plays it deep down across. Kalungi will intercept that. So Foster scores a goal unassisted. And it's 1-0 in favor of Harrisburg City here. We had to wait 94 minutes before we saw our first tally last week. This week, it didn't even take 3 minutes. Wilson, who will go end to end as the midfielder. Chances are he'll be the box-to-box midfielder in this game. Sends it away to Josh Hughes. Brian Brown there to intercept. And Independence needs something strong here as the wind continues to blow south. And if things aren't tough enough for Independence at the start of this game, they're traveling with the wind in their faces here. David Estrada, Jan Ekra up the field. Herrera, the veteran, has 3 Islanders waiting for him as he takes the ball, and the pass intercepted by Wilson. Long ball ahead. Foster will force Azell to come out of net, and he sends a lunging header up to the midfield line. Fine play by the goalkeeper, Azell. And the ball away. Here comes Metcalf down the right end of the field. Johnson will come over and put it in the parking lot. In fact, he kicked it over the parking lot down to an adjacent practice field.
You got to hope the wind Jeff, here doesn't pose too much of a problem for the players in ball control tonight, as the wind is still very, very blustery out here.
Jan Ekra collects the ball from Estrada. Now Davidson to Slogic. Ekra, who spent his time last season, in fact started against Independence in Charlotte's second ever game at home. That was over at Transamerica Field when the games were played last season at UNC Charlotte. There a foul whistled against Independence. So immediately in this one, it was Crick Foster, who played in Jamaica, played with Reno FC. Ball kicked away by Kalungi. And then we have a trip at midfield. Referee rules advantage. Back comes Jose Baril. Played in long sleeves last week, tonight not doing so. Jamie Thomas will look for a cross. Metcalf measures him up. Ball played to Josh Hughes, and then it was intercepted by Metcalf, and Hughes commits a foul on David Estrada. I want to remind you also, folks, about Yellow Cab. Need a ride? Download the YC mobile app and use promo code Independence for your first ride. Yellow Cab of Charlotte, the official transportation provider of Charlotte Independence. 1-0. Harrisburg City taking the lead off a goal by Craig Foster 3 minutes in. Estrada tries to work it free. Sends that one off of Baril out of play. Baril, the 23-year-old, in his 6th professional season, if you count his youth career, as we mentioned, with Real Madrid.
Native of Madrid, Spain.
That's right. Slodge it to the far end, having a hard time with the diminutive Foster. At 6'6", going up against Paul Wilson, who is 5'5". You could say there's a size disadvantage. Baril will collect that pass, tries to work it across midfield, and succeeds. Ends through 17. This is Jamie Thomas trying to play it forward to Baril, but that was cut off nicely by Metcalf. An important play there, as Independence didn't want to get 2 behind already before the game is even 8 minutes old. Pass by Ekra, one touch by Herrera to Brown, tries to enter the box. That threat ended very nicely by Dante Leverock, who scored last year against Charlotte, the equalizer in the second half in what turned out to be a 1-1 draw at Transamerica Field. And we have a foul called against Independence, as it looked like Patrick Slogic wound up in the short end of a collision.
Still slow to get up.
Already today in USL action, it was the New York Red Bulls 2 defeating Louisville City. That was at Slugger Stadium, 2-0 the final. So already this year, counting games last night, in which Richmond and Wilmington went to a scoreless draw. Charleston played to a scoreless draw as well with Orlando City B. That means that Charleston, the New York Red Bulls 2, along with Wilmington and Richmond, they have all started the season with 4 points in its first 2 games. The only team to have played and won both of its games so far, the Los Angeles Galaxy 2 in the Western Conference. And of course, they represented the Western Conference in the USL Championship game last year, where they lost to the Rochester Rhinos, who began their season tonight at Pittsburgh. Ball kicked to the far end of the field by Duckett, and it just stayed in far enough where it's merely a long throw instead of a corner. If you're just joining us, Craig Foster scored 3 minutes in. And it's 1-0 Harrisburg City. And now diving for a ball goes number 7 on the play, but it was headed out nicely.
Joshua Hughes.
Josh Hughes dove for it, and he will earn the first corner of the game.
Josh Hughes spent last season the Atlanta Silverbacks.
That's
native
right.
Of Peachtree City, Georgia.
Played at Berry College. It's located in Floyd County, Georgia. It's an NAIA school. 2 Islanders back to take the corner. One does. Comes along the near sideline, and then it goes out of play as Aaron Wheeler, one of the strikers, couldn't maintain it, and it trickles harmlessly over the end line. Well, Charlotte will hit the road here after this one. Then they'll be back at home coming up in 13 days for their first game of the year against the Richmond Kickers. Richmond looking strong with 4 points, as we mentioned, through its first 2 contests. And they have many of the faces back from last year. Their partnership with DC United continues. Long kick up the field. Looking for it was Brown. Couldn't get to it. It's taken instead by Foster, who scored the goal.
Independence heading it around, trying to get control, and they do.
And here's Acra trying to take it away from Jamie Thomas. Now Herrera has the ball played to him by Brown. Herrera sidesteps the netminder Noble, squares up, tries to put it in play, and the shot was blocked. Then the rebound opportunity kicked away from Brown. Huge momentum there.
Such a chance right there for the Independents.
Nick Noble came out of net after that dangerous entry pass came in from Brown. That was all set up on a good run by Jorge Herrera, and now giveaway by Davidson. That kills the momentum. Looked like it might have been Shane Johnson who came in and knocked that ball away from Herrera when the Independents wound up with a chance at an equalizer. Acra will play it alongside, looking for Brown once again. And this time Johnson sends a ball that he wasn't supposed to kick in the opinion of his netminder Noble. He and Johnson wound up having their wires crossed a little bit there. Noble wanted to feel that one. Johnson didn't get the memo. Charlotte winds up with possession out of it. Kalungi to the far end of the field. 1-0. Harrisburg City scored 3 minutes in. First goal of the season by Craig Foster, unassisted. Cracking down on defense there. Harrisburg City forces a turnover as Duckett, who tweeted earlier today, "I love our game day atmosphere at Ramblewood."
I got here early myself, Jeff, and Duckett was actually walking around talking to a couple of people, and the fans were out in force and definitely ready for this one.
Thomas lunges the ball in for Wheeler. Now Baril ties up with Estrada for it. Harrisburg City will keep it. Islanders and Independents searching for their first wins of the season. And here's Henry Kalungi playing the ball forward, but Josh Hughes will come over and take it back for Harrisburg City. Here's Jamie Thomas. Back it goes to 6, Barbie Warshaw. And now Shane Johnson up the field. The one touch there by Baril. Estrada swiped in, and it'll be Independent's ball as it was last touched by Baril. Here comes Estrada back the other way. Drops it off for Brown, the Jamaican native. Up the field it goes to Jan Ekra. Henry Kalungi springs back as Independence looks for some momentum here. They had a chance a moment ago as Nick Noble, the goalkeeper, was caught off his line. Cross-field pass. Metcalf catches up with the ball. He'll play it to the end line looking for Estrada. He'll send the cross in far corner, but it goes out of play. And that will lead to a throw here, or goal kick, I should say, for Harrisburg City. As we mentioned earlier, starting up its 13th year as a franchise. Charlotte starting its second season, but these two teams quite familiar with one another. They have met before in the USL playoffs when Charlotte's USL franchise was known as the Charlotte Eagles.
These two teams won't face each other again until June.
That's right. They'll play one more time up in Pennsylvania, and that'll be it. Charlotte will have the majority of its games, extra games, come against their traditional southern rivals, Richmond, Wilmington, and Charleston. Ekra swipes in to take the ball away and create a turnover. And now Charlotte will try to spring some offense here, looking for the equalizer. Metcalf down the right channel. He'll switch to the right foot, play it alongside to Davidson. Michael making his first start.
Native of Tokyo, Japan.
He was signed just a few weeks ago. The signing of Brian Brown became official this week. He's a young man who played his college soccer at Notre Dame, but he's been training with Independence for about a week or so. He was listed on the team website before the signing became official.
Local product Austin Yearwood also signed by the Independents.
That's right.
Played his college ball at High Point University just up the road, and also spent time with the Charlotte Eagles, again in the PDL.
Davidson now within 35 yards of the net. Here's Acra staying on his feet against his old team, will fire, and it just missed wide left. Jan Acra saying, if nobody else will spring anything, I'll try myself. And the veteran from the Ivory Coast nearly brought Charlotte its first goal of the season.
Looking to get that goal against his old mates.
He was 4th on the team last season for Harrisburg City in minutes as he played 2,085 with the Islanders. As we enter the 16th minute of the game. Fans, want to remind you also about USL social media. Get in the game through the USL social media channels. Follow the USL on Twitter, Facebook, as well as Instagram for news, live game updates, and video highlights from across the league. USL social media.
Aaron Wheeler taking a shot, but going wide. Wheeler spent last season with the Wilmington Hammerheads, native of Baltimore, Maryland.
That's right.
6'4" forward.
Last week he got the start in there, lost to the Richmond Kickers. There's the goal kick, but the wind nearly pulled it out of bounds. Good play by Estrada to realize where that ball was headed, and immediately got over to keep it in play. Well, Charlotte's controlled the possession, but they did give up the early goal. And now Wilson comes over and forces a turnover. Paul Wilson, the rookie, only a 22-year-old. He is all of 5'5" tall.
Another Jamaican native on this Harrisburg City team.
He was on Jamaican U17, U20, and U21 teams. Metcalf will take the ball over. Short pass. Pereal tries to create a turnover. And does he succeed? Referee's assistant pointing Independence ball, something that the Harrisburg City fans who have made the trek down from Pennsylvania are not happy with. The center back tandem tonight is Leverock, along with Shane Johnson. That's a veteran core. Both those players played with Harrisburg City last season. Metcalf to Belial Duckett. Now Henry Kalunchi. Center back tandem staying the same. In fact, the defensive line standing the same here for Independence. In its second game of the season, header taken away by Bereal, and they'll spark a counter. Here's Bereal running on field along with Warshaw, but that was poked away nicely. Now stolen right back by Bereal in the 18. Bereal cutting to the right, plays it along for Foster, tries to get a shot off. That was deflected by Slogic. Harrisburg City appealing for a handball on Slogic, but no dice. So in the 18th minute, another shot, that one deflected by the 6'6" Cornell graduate Patrick Slogic.
Opportunities
Kick by
coming.
Ezell. Wow, looked like Brown got away with a handball, and in fact he didn't get away with it. Ball was clearly to the right there, and he almost brought it in like a wide receiver, and the wind blowing in like it is so strongly to the south here is really playing some games on long kicks like that one just a moment ago there from Cody Mazzell. In fact, we're seeing more of the same that we saw last week, a lot of long balls that are going no place and teams wasting possessions because of it. Here's Duckett. John Michael Davidson now. Independence last season had a difficult time putting the ball in the net. They scored 36 goals. That was tied for 17th in a 24-team league. Jack's Militia making their songs heard all throughout the stadium here. Long run ahead, putting it in, and keeping it in play was to the far end of the field, Davidson. Not enough to do anything with it, though. There's a ball tucked away. Estrada will make a run into the box on the right. One touch ahead. Jorge Herrera. What a gorgeous save that was. What a play by Noble. Looked like he had the first tally of the year for just a second, but Noble made a fantastic save.
Another missed opportunity by the Independents.
Jorge was stone cold robbed there. That should have been the equalizer. Davidson opting to go wide right. Here's Metcalf off the touch by Brown. Independence threatening. And there to send it out of play was Jamie Thomas for Harrisburg City. What a fantastic save by Noble. That's going to be up there for the USL Save of the Week. A fantastic play.
That was beautiful. Just got his hands up and blocked it away.
Duckett to the right, drops it off for Davidson. As we come up on the 20th minute now. Harrisburg City scored 3 minutes in from Craig Foster. Mazzell tries to send a 50-yard kick, running up for it. Jamie Thomas sends it out of play. So Independence continues to swirl as the wind continues to swirl, and Independence looking for the equalizer. Looked like Jorge Herrera would have it for just a moment. Offside will be called here against David Estrada, who's not happy about it. Don't see Alex Martinez on the lineup sheet tonight. Enzo Martinez is a reserve in this game, but Alex not in there once again, although he's on the team roster. Fans, I want to remind you also, Nike is a proud sponsor of the USL. Follow at Nike Soccer on Twitter for all the latest Nike soccer information. Slogic tried to play to the wind. Poor clearance. Foster in the neighborhood. Wilson going forward as well, but Slogic will get in there himself since he couldn't clear it. He's going to try to draw a foul, and he succeeds, and there's some post-whistle jockeying there between he and Wheeler, but Independence winds up with the ball. Jet Metcalf back the other way.
Metcalf coming up through the Liverpool soccer system.
That's right.
Beautiful Liverpool, England.
Long ball that the wind caught. Dante Leverock, the center back, heads it forward. Harrisburg City, despite that one goal early, they have not been able to sustain many of their possessions here, and Charlotte has, and it's resulted in two opportunities, both times turned back by Nick Goebel. Now David Estrada takes it back, and it'll lead to the first Charlotte corner of the game. Jorge Herrera typically is the corner man for Independence, and it will be the case here.
Sun continuing to go down here at Ramblewood Stadium Complex, but the wind sticks around.
Yeah. The minute 21:12 ticks off the clock, a Rush fan's favorite time. And Jorge will put the kick on net. Header high. Brown got a piece of it. It'll wait out outside the box where Davidson plays it back to Jorge. Herrera will corkscrew to the right. Jamie Thomas comes up on him, sends it away. This is Duckett into the box. Opportunity for Eckwer, right side. Shot was blocked. Looked like it was turned away by Johnson. Duckett will get another chance from outside the 20. Puts in the cross and the header! And Independence with the equalizer.
First goal of the season for the Independence.
And who was the man who got it? Number 8.
Number 8.
It was Caleb Calvert who wound up getting it. Man who came off the bench so often last year. And hallowed be thy name. Caleb Calvert with the equalizer, and Independence, after threatening several times, has evened the match in the 22nd minute. Caleb Calvert scores the header. So Caleb Calvert with the header coming off the corner just moments ago by Jorge Herrera. And give credit to Estrada and Belial Duckett for keeping that ball in play. So Caleb Calvert gets the goal, and back comes the Islanders here.
Calvert on loan from the Colorado Rapids.
That's right. Back the other way, Harrisburg City not wasting a moment. Barrio will field a cross that went awry. Duckett will get the assist on the play. Now Barrio looking to strike back here, who scored the only tally last week for Harrisburg City. Ball played to the left, goes alongside to Jamie Thomas. And then Kalungi comes out of the box, but then it's chested down by Sean McClaws. Into the box, Foster didn't have a solid first touch. McClaws will take it right back. Trip, referee rules no foul. Instead it's Hughes, and his pass knocked away by Estrada. A one-touch by Herrera, and back comes Estrada trying to lead a counter that was shut down nicely by Josh Hughes. Now Metcalf. So Independence knotting the game. Officially it's Calvert from Duckett. Belial, not necessarily known as a points guy. That was his first ascent since 2013. He didn't have one last year. Here's Estrada up the right sideline. Sliding tackle attempt nicely done by Jamie Thomas. Forces it over the end line, and Charlotte will have another corner.
Thomas not happy about that either.
No. Jamie is a demonstrative player, which is apparent for anyone who watched last week's game between the Islanders and Richmond. Thomas didn't mind making his opinion known if you asked for it, and if you didn't ask for it, he'd give it to you anyway. So Herrera with the corner now, as Independence looks for the go-ahead after Caleb Calvert scored the first goal of the season. Herrera to the right, plays it in, skips off the head of Brian Brown, and will be tracked down by Barrio to the far end of the field. As the sun shades down in the west to the far end of the field, that's what we're looking into. Press box, we're happy to say, will be on the other end of the stadium once it's finally built sometime in the summertime, maybe before that.
no sunlight on the pitch as of right now.
No. Nightfall will descend here in about 25 minutes, right about halftime.
Have an Islander down on the turf right now.
And Charlotte just now realizing it will put the ball out of play. There was a loose ball for a header there. That might be Wheeler who's down. Aaron Wheeler, who got the strike tonight at striker. And as Dave told you earlier, Wheeler, an experienced professional, spent last season with a Wilmington team that struggled. But Wilmington not struggling to begin this season, coming up with a win last week to begin the campaign, and ultimately had a draw, a scoreless tie last night in their home opener against Richmond. Charleston last night, we mentioned their scoreless tie with Orlando City beat. Charleston put up 21 shots to Orlando City's 3, but they still came away with a scoreless tie.
Kind of hard to believe that. With stats like that, you'd think one of them would find the back of the net.
Charleston won last week in a goal at the death to defeat FC Cincinnati in that franchise's first ever game. As you see Wheeler making his way up. Aaron Wheeler, the 6'4" native, 27 years old, from Baltimore, Maryland. And it looks like that momentarily Harrisburg City will have to go with 10 players as the team training staff comes out to check on them. I want to remind you that Brew Public is something you all need to know and be made aware of. In fact, fans' curated craft beer delivered to your doorstep is only a click away. Visit brewpublic.com and sign up. Brew Public, Ding Dong Beer. You can sit back, enjoy this game tonight, and then if you like basketball, you can watch what's going on tonight in Houston at Energy Stadium. Right now it's Independence trying to notch 3 points in the Eastern Conference standings. It's a valuable 3 and just a sloppy giveaway there. A simple center back to center back pass botched by the tandem of Kalungi and Duckett. And it's going to lead to Harrisburg City now getting the ball in the verge of its attacking third. First goal came in the 3rd minute. Second one came in the 23rd minute. Caleb Calvert notched the equalizer for Independence on an assist from Belial Duckett. And then Foster, the man who scored the goal, hit with a handball foul here. And Independence will take it right back. Craig Foster scored the first goal of the night 3 minutes in for Harrisburg City on a venture into the box. But aside from that, Harrisburg City has had a difficult time maintaining a lot of passes on their possessions. The wind has been at their backs, and speaking of the wind, that's exactly what Fizel's having to kick into right here. Slogic to the right, plays it forward. Catching up with it is Brown, but he'll be beaten to the ball to the far end of the field.
Still has the ball.
And McLaws couldn't maintain it at the goal mouth. Here's Estrada dropping it back. Acro looking for a handball, didn't get one. Harrisburg City tries a counter, but the pass for Foster was too far. Now swerving in, going after it is Burrell, who could have easily been hit with a handball, and he will trigger a 3-on-2 break with the blue shirts capping up. Burrell, good cross in, but the header goes high. Wheeler just back into the game, had the opportunity there from about 10 yards out. Burrell triggered that one with a questionable defensive play that was not whistled down at midfield, and it led to Harrisburg City's first serious opportunity since the opener from Foster in the 3rd minute.
Ball was headed into the supporter group.
Jack's Militia brought their drums. Their first love, their first priority is this team, and you have to tip your cap to that. They're trying to start their own soccer revolution here, just as Captain James Jack did in 1775, and look what that led to. Kalungi to the far end of the field as we come up on the 30th minute here in a knotted game at 1. Mazzell looked for a long ball. You get the feeling Charlotte doesn't want to take a lot of long passes at times because the wind just plays so many games with it. Here, Johnson couldn't control it on the first touch and sends it out of play. Charlotte in its attacking third. Davidson sends it away to Metcalf on the right side. Davidson lunging away to Estrada. Davidson looks in the box, plays it for Brown, does so, forced back out. Brown, Metcalf on the right will play the cross, goes short with it to Davidson and over the sideline. Fans, a reminder, keep up to date with the USL all season long by visiting the new USLsoccer.com for everything you need to know about the USL. It's USLsoccer.com. Throw in Brown from Metcalf. Kicked away by Jamie Thomas. Davidson maintains possession. The short ball end is kicked out by Johnson. Chested down by Accra, who tries to take in against his former teammates, but goes down on the play with no whistle. Wheeler back the other way for the white shirts. Long pass up ahead for Wilson. He'll square off with Belial Duckett, or Patrick Slogic for it, and it's taken right back. Here comes Sean McLaws with it.
Independence not looking just for their first win of the season, Jeff, but also their first win against this Harrisburg City franchise.
That's right. They had one loss to them last year in Harrisburg City, and we mentioned that draw, the only time the two teams played in Charlotte that went 1-1. Dante Leverock scored the equalizer in what was a pretty sloppy game overall for Independence offensively. Here tonight, they've been a little more cohesive, especially in the last 15 minutes. Kalungi disrupts that pass intended for Foster, and then Hughes heads it right back forward. But Jan Ekra is there to play it to Brown. Charlotte looking to spring it. Estrada came in. He was open for a moment. He was also offside. Now he makes the long run to the right. He's free on the wing. Good pass ahead by Ekra. Here's Estrada dropping off. Metcalf looks in the box, got some bodies. He'll play the cross in, headed right back out nicely by Leverock. Was a golden opportunity there. Another dangerous cross. Foster back the other way. He'll take it down to Wheeler. White shirts will kick back up.
Jorge was the intended target right there for that header, but couldn't get a handle on it.
Baril. Way it goes to Jamie Thomas. In the 32nd minute, knotted at 1 here. Good pass ahead. As it goes to Paul Wilson, the rookie, is stripped away by Jan Ekra, the veteran. And now Herrera tried to give it up the field, but it was cut off by Aaron Wheeler. And he'll take the ball right back here. Pass intended for Foster is kicked out by Kalungi. And then Ekra will send it along to Slogic, who'll play it up the left sideline. Harrisburg City looking for an offside flag, and they get it on Brian Brown. Brian Brown, the native of Jamaica, joining the team officially this week. The 23-year-old played with Indy 11 of the North American Soccer League last year. Previously played for Philadelphia Union, who had a partnership, as we mentioned earlier, with Harrisburg City that came to an end with the creation of Bethlehem Steel at the end of last season. In fact, for 5 straight years, Harrisburg City and Philadelphia Union played friendlies against one another, but that came to an end at the end of 2015. Baril comes in with a loose ball. Wheeler's in front of him. Baril to the goal mouth, to the edge of the 18. Shut down there by Metcalf. Kicked forward by Kalungi. And Charlotte will launch a counter. Free ball to the right side. Estrada is onside. He'll enter the box with only Johnson to beat. Estrada dribbles in. He fires and he scores!
Beautiful goal, David Estrada.
Destroy, erase, improve. David Estrada puts Charlotte ahead 2-1. A lovely finish there, and it all started on a great counter. Once again, Charlotte's back line creating big things for its offense.
Independence goal in the 34th minute goes to number 11, David.
So David Estrada scores his first goal for Independence, and it's 2-1. The man who played with Sacramento in the Orange County Blues last year puts in his first tally as a member of the militia.
Native of Salinas, California.
In the 34th minute, officially no assist on the play. We'll see if that changes. Kalungi wound up starting that with a good shutdown on a pass that was intended for Wheeler. Remember, Harrisburg City was trying to start its own counter a moment ago, but Estrada went into the box and the only man back with him. Well, they're going to give the assist to Herrera now. That was announced. And now another takeaway here. Here's Accra to the far end. So Herrera collects his first point of the season. Long ball that leads to nothing coming out of Net Mazel in his 4th professional season. So David Estrada scores his first goal. Young man who played at UCLA, the Bruins' top scorer in his freshman year. He played as a walk-on. He played 41 games with the Seattle Sounders. a team that you know very well, Dave.
That's right. My Seattle Sounders still looking for their first win of the season in MLS.
It's remarkable.
Yes, it is.
He was previously a first-round selection by Seattle in the 2011 MLS Super Draft, and here he puts Independence and gives them its first lead of the season here as we venture into the 36th minute of this game. Charlotte up 2-1.
Seattle coach Ziggy Schmid also coached down there at UCLA, I do believe.
That's right. That's how we got to know him. Herrera chips the ball forward. Caleb Calvert will play it along the far sideline. Look for bodies that aren't there. Slogic will try to help out. Charlotte really has dominated possession. They just had a hiccup in the early minutes of this game. Metcalf down the right sideline, plays the cross. Brown in. Leverock headed it out. Top of the box. Calvert has an opportunity. That was knocked down by Wilson, and he'll dribble the ball out of harm's way.
Good
Up
defense.
the field, lost it. And it'll be a foul whistled against Charlotte. Tell you what, Paul Wilson's not very big, but he's all over the place, and as a rookie, he's making his name known. There he dribbled a ball out of trouble there that could have been big problems, and Harrisburg City really has been on the defensive for the balance of this half, aside from the goal that came 3 minutes in from Craig Foster.
That ball was in the box, too.
Jamie Thomas down the left side corrects the ball from Murillo. Foster now in a 1v1 with Metcalf will put the cross in. Shades over everyone's head. Wilson will collect it before it goes over the boundary. This is Sean McLaws playing it in the box, bounces off of Foster's body, then taken down in the net. We have a whistle here. Is this going to be a penalty? No, they're going to call a foul here, I believe, against Harrisburg City.
I didn't see him point at the spot.
No. Aaron Wheeler went down. He got tangled up with Kalungi. But the officials rule the foul is on Wheeler, who doesn't protest all that much. So after that scare, some of the Charlotte fans had their hearts jump to their throats after that whistle sounded.
Especially the militia right behind the goal.
Exactly. They had a dead-on look at that. Here's Metcalf to the right. Davidson. So Charlotte with 2 goals, and both of them assisted. One came from Caleb Calvert on an assist from, of all people, Belial Duckett. His first assist since he played with Harrisburg City 3 years ago, believe it or not.
Wow.
And then the goal that came right after that from Davis Estrada. Assist from Jorge Herrera. Wilson now on the interception. Wheeler, Wilson. Back comes Harrisburg City. It's Barreal. Plays it left side, and sneaky good pass to Foster. Ball coming into the net, and a diving attempt at the clearance there by Kalungi. Barreal now plays to the far end. Herrera knocks it out. Running alongside goes McLaws. He'll put it back into the box, but he misplays it, and it goes onto the feet of Cody Mazzell, who comes in, and he'll tuck it away to safety. Harrisburg City with a serious challenge there.
Good defense by the Independents, making sure Harrisburg City don't equalize here in the late minutes of the first half.
Interesting that Kalungi had to cross over, almost got in front of Duckett, his opposite center back, in an effort to knock that ball down. That was headed into Cody Mazzell in an angle where he may not have been able to reach it. So Independence preserves their 2-1 lead. Kalungi to Patrick Slogic. Kalungi wearing number 25 once again in his 7th season, but he didn't play all that far away from here in his college ball. The native of Uganda played at Winthrop in Rock Hill, South Carolina, just about 30 minutes away down I-77 South.
Beautiful facility down there as these Independents played a couple of their games last year before Ramblewood was ready for them.
That's right. They defeated Pittsburgh and also defeated Richmond. Sloppy pass here. Duckett just able to shield off Barreal, who goes down without a foul. Metcalf up the field to Brown. Now it goes to Jan Ekra. Patrick Slogic. As we come up on the 40-minute mark here. Herrera with a short pass. Ekra, Metcalf calling for the ball wide on the right, saying he's open. Jan Ekra says, we'll play it your way. Metcalf, header in. Brown has to go off his head. Calvert swoops in, cleared away by McLaws. Then Davidson squares off with it with Barreal. Wheeler comes aboard, trying to give Harrisburg City possession. And a sliding attempt by Jamie Thomas leads to a whistle.
believe it's going to go on Wheeler.
And it will be Wheeler picking up the foul.
He tied it with Davidson.
Davidson and Wheeler squaring off for that one, and one of the Harrisburg City fans near us wasn't happy about it. Davidson talking to that official. Well, the wind has added to a very chilly evening, and the fans that brought t-shirts here and wore shorts now have to bundle up. Herrera takes off after the short free kick. One touch by Brown intended for Herrera was disrupted and leads to a foul. That was Barrio once again coming in. And then Barrio, in derogatory fashion, just throws the ball at Brown, and those two are sharing some words. Official has to intervene. Stakes are a little bit high here tonight, even though the top 8 teams make the playoffs. You still don't want to go 0-2, of course. Long pass ahead, Wheeler with a good header. Barrio runs on. This is Foster, who scored earlier, going into the 18. Plays it wide to left. Thomas won't be able to run it down. Jamie Thomas was the intended receiver, and again, good center back help by Independence there. Kalungi and Duckett springing on the ball once Barrio made it clear that a scoring opportunity was to be had. But instead, Independence will rely on fourth-year goalkeeper Cody Mazzell in his first season with Charlotte. He spent last season playing in Iceland professionally, previously played with Tampa Bay and Atlanta in the current form of the North American Soccer League. Ekra with the header, lunges the ball over the head of Barbie Warshaw. And here comes Independence once again. Brian Brown to the right in his first game, knocked off the ball by Barrio, intercepted by Thomas, but an errant pass will give the ball back to Independence, with Metcalf providing a throw. Coming up on 3 minutes and change remaining in regulation here in the first half. Johnson plays his back to the ball. Barrio heads it forward. Davidson tries to track it down and succeeds in getting over to Belial Duckett, who assisted on the equalizer for Independence. That was scored by Caleb Calvert.
Passing and ball handling has looked better tonight by the Independents. Jeff, as in contrast to the game last week.
Yeah.
It's one thing I have noticed in this first half.
Here's Estrada, who scored what stands to be the game-winning goal if things stay the same, but there's a lot of soccer to be had. You're right there, David. Certainly it's been a lot more fluid in this game. Jan Ekra, a big reason for that. The midfielder plays it to the left, Slogic, as we come up on the 43rd minute now. Boy, that's a strange sight to see the 6'6" Slogic defended by Paul Wilson, who's 5'5" officially, and he might be smaller than that. Brown to Ekra. Now it goes across, and here's Metcalf with a free opportunity, but that'll sail wide to the left. He was kicking into the wind that time, and Metcalf may have overcompensated for the wind that was blowing in that time, and Nick Noble, the goalkeeper, didn't have much to worry about once it left Metcalf's foot. Jack played 19 games last season for Independence, did not score. He was mainly a defensive midfielder this season. He's starting at right back. Independence leading 2-1. They've scored the last 2. Noble provides the goal kick. Barrio chests it forward. Estrada. Barrio goes down easily, too easily in the opinion of the official. Here's Metcalf chipping it forward. Looking for the ball is Brown. Johnson squaring off with him. Johnson does a good job in shielding Brown away from the ball, and he'll play it up to Jamie Thomas. Now Barrio loses the ball, created by Ekra. Brown with the opportunity. Noble makes a diving save, and that's going to lead him at loss, clearing it. Noble knocks away what would have been a heartbreaker there for Harrisburg City, and Charlotte with a quick throw, trying to keep the pressure on here, trying to score before the first half clock winds to a close. Wheeler there to create the turnover. Here comes Barrio. Here comes Harrisburg City. This is Warshaw wearing the captain's band, heading to the far end of the field. Paul Wilson with it. We'll hear an announcement momentarily of how much time we'll have remaining here, how much time will be added on. Warshaw, Wilson grabbed onto by Slogic, no whistle. This is Leverock, who scored on the corner last year at Transamerica Field, about 30 minutes away at the campus of UNC Charlotte. Another turnover created by Brown, and then Herrera is taken down at midfield without a call by Wilson. Harrisburg City back with possession. Warshaw with it. Away it goes to Josh Hughes. And here come the Islanders back looking for a late equalizer. And then we have Thomas taken down, and that leads to a late call. Looked like the official was going to rule advantage.
I believe I'm hearing 1 minute stoppage time.
All right, 1 more minute will be added. Josh Hughes was taken down, and now Harrisburg City will get a free kick in a dangerous spot. Metcalf will form a wall with Estrada as we're at the 45-minute mark. A little surprised we only had 1 minute there, considering we've had 3 goals, although no bookings. So 2-1 Charlotte with the lead. Goals from Caleb Calvert and David Estrada. Lining up over the ball is Wilson, along with Baril. It'll be Baril who takes it, puts it in the box, and it gets a header punched out very nicely by Mazzell.
Beautiful
He knocked
save.
away the opportunity there that came in, I believe, from Jamie Thomas. And there's the first half whistle. Boy, what a golden save that was. And Cody Mazzell crosses his heart and points to the sky. That was his best save of the season. Granted, it's a small sample size, but certainly Mazzell knocked away the equalizer there, and Charlotte goes to the locker room in a considerably better state than they were 1 week ago tonight after a sloppy, forgettable 45 minutes against Louisville City. Tonight, the defense was there. The defense helped the offense, and Independence goes into the locker room leading Harrisburg City 2-1.
Got to be a good momentum boost also for the Independents to, as we mentioned earlier, the game's running a little more fluid for them. Ball handling's been good, passing's been good, and they can definitely go in with some confidence and be ready to come out in the second half and hopefully put this game away.
It's going to be the vital thing, certainly, for everyone involved. Charlotte needs to do that, but you can't say enough about that tremendous save by Cody Mazzell, who knocked away the header attempt on the late free kick by Jose Baril. It looked like that Jamie Thomas was the one who got a header on it, and Mazzell knocked it away, ending what was a good half of overall goalkeeping from both sides. Nick Noble, if he had made 1 or 2 solid saves himself, Charlotte could have more than 2 goals. But as it is, at the end of 45 minutes, it is Independence on goals from Caleb Calvert and David Estrada leading Harrisburg City 2-1. As you're watching Charlotte Independent Soccer on YouTube. Stay with us. Goals for Charlotte Independence after being shut out last week in the loss to Louisville City. Tonight, Independence with a 2-1 lead at halftime here at Ramblewood Soccer Complex over the Harrisburg City Islanders. And I'm Jeff Hanlon here along with Dave Hodges. Mark Rowland is our director. Harrisburg City trying to bounce back here and equalize this game, looking for its first point in the team standings for this season. And certainly they have an opportunity to do it tonight. But regardless, the City Islanders home opener is coming up on April 22nd. They'll take on Louisville City. Fans won't want to miss this highly anticipated home opener at their new stadium location, FNB Field. City Island, Harrisburg. Going to be big, and it's going to be exciting. So Harrisburg City fans, will see you April 22nd as we welcome your City Islanders back to Central Pennsylvania. Call 441-GOAL. That is 441-GOAL for tickets, or visit cityislanders.com. That is 441-GOAL. 441-GOAL. And it is a City Islanders franchise that is transitioning. As we told you earlier, no longer with Philadelphia Union. They're making way in USL as an independent team, and they're making way for a new stadium. In fact, they'll play games at that new stadium that we just mentioned, and they'll also play some games at a minor league baseball stadium. But FMB Field, the brand new home stadium for Harrisburg City.
Always fun to open a new facility.
Absolutely. Jeff? Well, for Charlotte, it was a lot of fun there as we have the first half stats here. And Charlotte outshot the Islanders 7-5. Cody Mazzell had one save in the first 45 minutes, but it was a big save as he turned back a header from Jamie Thomas on a free kick triggered by Jose Barril, and ultimately it led to Independence taking a 2-1 lead into the locker room. But it was important for Independence to get that save from Mazzell, and really Cody needed some confidence after giving up the early goal to Craig Foster early in the contest, only 3 minutes in.
Independents are looking better, as we mentioned earlier. They're gelling together, and they're just playing so much better soccer. I mean, it's only the second game of the season, but the team looks 100% better than last week, Jeff.
Do look a lot better. We'll see if that carries over. Belial Duckett assisted on the first goal for Independence, and then the second goal had an assist from Jorge Herrera as he assisted on the breakout by David Estrada. The shot found the left side of the net. Past goalkeeper Nick Noble, who was credited with 3 saves in the first half. Charlotte with 2 corner kicks. Harrisburg City wound up with 1. Those are the statistics from the first half of play. And I want to remind you, after the game, we'll bring you the Wells Fargo save of the game. Have a pretty good idea what it's going to be, but you never know what the next 45 minutes we'll have in store for us here. So we'll have the Wells Fargo's save of the game coming up immediately following tonight's contest. Earlier today in USL action, we mentioned that the New York Red Bulls 2 defeated Louisville City in LCFC's home opener, 2-0 the final. So a week after the New York Red Bulls 2 started its season with a 2-2 tie against Toronto FC 2, today they went on the road and collected its first victory of the season. Last night in USL, we mentioned that Richmond played to a scoreless tie with Wilmington. Orlando City B played most of its game with Charleston with only 10 men. And even though Charleston got off 21 shots to Orlando City's 3, the game still wound up as a scoreless tie.
One busy goaltender right there.
No question about that. Right now, the Eastern Conference table looks like this. The New York Red Bulls 2, Richmond, Wilmington Hammerheads, and Charleston all have played 2 games, and they all have 4 points. Louisville City has played 2 now. They have 3 points. OCB, with 2 games under its belt, they have 1 point. And tonight, the Rochester Rhinos start its defense of the USL Championship as they play tonight at Pittsburgh. Louisville City, losing earlier today, still has 3 points after that shocking victory last week here at Ramblewood Soccer Complex. And right now it's Harrisburg City. They will start out with the ball here with Jose Barril and Josh Hughes lined up at midfield. Don't see any substitutions for either side, and do see Paul Wilson out there along with Craig Foster as we get ready for the second half to begin here tonight at Ramblewood Soccer Complex, with Independence leading 2-1 here against Harrisburg City. Still has A few more weeks to wait before they play their home opener. As we mentioned, that will be against Louisville City. And up the field steadily comes 23, Sean McLaws, drops it off to Dante Leverock. And Harrisburg City didn't have very much in the way of possession. We don't have possession statistics, unfortunately, before us, but I don't imagine they were very kind to the team from Pennsylvania. Aaron Wheeler has the ball go over the sideline off his foot. And there'll be Independence with the ball with Patrick Slogic out there. Jermichael Davidson didn't really provide all that much. He was more of a defensive midfielder, David. I think you would agree.
I do.
In that first half. Here's a takeaway, and it's going to be McLaws now on the right flank trying to line up a cross. He'll move in on Slogic into the 18, puts it at the penalty spot. Wilson is there at the top of the box, dislodged momentarily by Estrada, and then blocked outright by Acra. Sends the ball deep down the field for Brown on the clearance by Davidson, and Independence fends off an early Harrisburg City challenge. Here's Metcalf the other way for Independence, leading 2-1 on goals from Caleb Calvert and David Estrada, of course, both their first of the year. Henry Kalungi, Belial Duckett collecting his first point in a game since he played with Harrisburg City 3 years ago on that equalizer from Caleb Calvert. That was started by a corner kick from Jorge Herrera.
Harrisburg City going to look to bring the pressure here, start the second half, and try to get back into this contest.
Acra to Slogic, the Cornell graduate who was born in Okinawa, Japan. Acra, the former Harrisburg City player, takes it back, looks for Estrada. And did it go off of David's head? It did not, over the sideline. Even though Harrisburg City appealed for the ball, they won't get it. 2 minutes in now. And we have an Independence player down. That was Metcalf who hit the turf, and the foul will be called against Wilson. So Charlotte will go on the road next week for its first game against one of the 6 new teams, expansion teams in USL, FC Cincinnati. Here's
Coach.
extra.
Coach. Sorry,
behind. Go ahead there, Dave.
I was going to say, FC Cincinnati coached by Hall of Famer John Harkes.
That's right. And here's the long pass, nicely triggered by Burrell, who's playing with long sleeves now, just as he did last week in the city surroundings of City Stadium. Josh Hughes plays it to the far end of the field. Ball goes over the Bobby Warshaw, edge of the box. Foster was grabbed onto from behind by Kalungi. That was enough to knock the ball away from him, and Independence clears it to midfield. Fans, we'd like to mention and encourage you to find any way to reach out to the following sponsors for their support of your Charlotte Independence: Roll Oral and Facial Surgery, along with Sprint Communications, Skyview Dentistry, the U.S. National Whitewater Center, and Dick's Sporting Goods. Sponsors, we thank you so much for your support of independent soccer. Burrell fakes the lacrosse. Now he brings it closer to the box. Far sideline, Davidson there to knock the ball away on the cross attempt that was provided by Jamie Thomas. Long lead pass up ahead. Brown's got a chance at it, but it was knocked away from him at the last moment by Leverock. An important play by Dante. Independence almost notched another challenge on a counter, just as they did on what stands to be the leading goal from David Estrada, assisted by Jorge Herrera. Acra now plays it to the left. Calvert looking for the ball, gets it outside the box. He'll have a 1v1. Drops it off to Slogic on the left side. He'll play the cross. It'll be a tricky ball for Noble, but he just hauls it in. Nick was just circling back, looking for the right way to field that one, and he was having to deal with a wind that has only picked up with intensity over the last few minutes here. It's still blowing south right into his face, and he's kicking into it right now.
Noble spending time with Chicago Fire, MLS side.
He was originally drafted by the Fire, then spent 2 seasons in Sweden. He left Europe to play with the Los Angeles Galaxy, but that tenure was short-lived and soon found himself in Harrisburg City. Sloppy clearance here by Mazel, and Harrisburg City will get possession once again. This is Burrell avoiding the challenge put up by Calvert. Drops it away to Warshaw. Now on the right side, Wheeler with it. Harrisburg City with a chance. Foster overran the pass, misread the opportunity, and that pass set up there by Wheeler. Leverock heads it back the other way. Ball chested away from Hughes, chased to the far end and tracked down by Metcalf, who goes down, and it looks like that is going to bring about a foul and perhaps more.
Fans wanted it. You could hear the collective groan over the entire Ramblewood complex.
Wheeler was running for a loose ball there. Last week when we saw cards issued left and right like they were going out of style, tonight the referee has been very tight with his cautions, and here he just has a very stern warning here for Aaron Wheeler. We had 6 bookings in that game last week, but thus far no cards handed out tonight. Wheeler hit with the foul on Metcalf, and Cody Mazzell comes out of net to play this one as we come up on the 52nd minute in this game with Independence leading 2-1. Goals coming in the 22nd minute from Caleb Calvert and David Estrada in the 34th minute.
Jackson Militia fired up right now, enjoying this 2-1 lead, waving their flags and belting their songs.
Here's Estrada playing it alongside, but it's cut off by Barrio. Jose, the former Real Madrid product, plays it along. This is Foster. He was trying to get shot away, but he was knocked away from behind. Nicely done by Davidson. Harrisburg City fans not happy, but Davidson did what he had to do to make sure that Foster didn't get a clean shot off on that one. That ball trickled into Cody Mazzell.
Davidson from Siam Navy FC, Thailand side, Association football.
He has made the rounds. Now in the 52nd minute. Harrisburg City has been much more lethal here with opportunities in the second half, but they haven't gotten very many off on net. Long pass by Slogic. Calvert tries to swoop in and take it, but Leverock is there to intercept. Brings it across to Warshaw, the captain. But they're clearing a tip as botched, and Leverock knocks down Calvert. No whistle on the play. Leverock sends it away to midfield. Jan Ecker awaiting it as we end at minute number 53. 2-1 Independence. Metcalf away to Belial Duckett. Here's Kalungi. Independence looking for its first ever victory, as Dave mentioned earlier, against Harrisburg City. Here's Duckett with Wheeler putting some pressure on him, trying to force a turnover, but a good ball instead up the field to Brian Brown. Brown with an opportunity to Herrera at the edge of the box, and a gorgeous save made by Noble. The clearance by Leverock. Jorge will regret that one, and then Barrio clearly touched the ball and knocked it down with his hand, and that'll be a handball. Oh, Jorge had an opportunity he'll never forget, and he'll never forgive himself. It was one-on-one. Noble had to come way off his line, and he had a golden opportunity for insurance instead of giveaway. Here's Wheeler taking the ball away. Now Wheeler goes down, and that results in a foul.
Could be the new save of the game right now.
Could very well be. Nick Noble's made a couple of good ones, and he's robbed Jorge twice in this one. There was a header at the other end of the field that Noble knocked down. That was a stone-cold robbery, and here Jorge had the opportunity, but he couldn't get it past the veteran goalkeeper, who is a journeyman in another season with Harrisburg City in his 3rd season. Leverock chips a nice ball in. Wheeler goes out for it, but it's taken in nicely by Frizzell. So despite some chances at both ends, it's still 2-1. Harrisburg City, the one controlling possession a little bit more here in the second half as the sun has faded on another nice spring day. Brown tries to chest it forward, then he's tugged down, and that's going to lead to a free kick.
Flag is up.
Herrera was in the margin there to collect that chest pass, it looked like, from Brian Brown, and he was tugged down from behind, and that leads to another opportunity for Independence here, as the free kick will be triggered about 30 yards away from net. It'll be Herrera taking it, and I think we've had a card issued as well, maybe against Shane Johnson.
A yellow card
Yep.
has been issued in the 55th minute against Harrisburg on number 5.
So Shane Johnson collects the caution.
Yellow card.
That'll be his first yellow of the year. Herrera, who had a yellow last week against Louisville City, stepping back to take the free kick here. Davidson is also in the vicinity if there's a fake, but it will be Herrera. Chipping it in the box, comes in, and Brown had the opportunity, but the pass was a little bit too long for him. Again, the wind may have pushed that as it was blowing against Charlotte's back.
I've been out all day, Jeff. I don't know where all this wind has come from. It wasn't windy earlier this afternoon, but it's just picked up and seems to keep picking up.
But it has accelerated certainly within the last 2 hours or so. I want to remind fans that you can get in the game through the USL media channels, the social media channels. Follow the USL on Twitter, Facebook, and on Instagram for news, live game updates, and video highlights from across the league. And Brown back the other way, sliding knockdown and clearance by Leverock. Independence will keep it in its attacking third. As we're in the 56th minute now, Slogic will have essentially a corner here, but he's going to go short with the throw to Calvert. And then a sloppy pass that's cut off and stolen away by Wheeler. Back up the field comes Harrisburg City. They have a 3-on-4. Barrio will cut to the center of the field with Kalungi shadowing him. Sends it away. Wilson in the box, and the shot is knocked down by Mazzell. A golden save, the second of the night on the third shot on net in the evening by Harrisburg City. A big one knocked down by Cody Mazzell that time as Wilson looked for his second point of the season and his first goal. He assisted on Harrisburg City's only goal last week in the 3-1 loss to Richmond. The goal kick at midfield is taken away by Bobby Warshaw. To the right, here comes Sean McLaws with it. Harrisburg City still circling, looking for the equalizer. Barrio, McLaws, right of the flank. In the backfield, Warshaw sends it away to Josh Hughes. Davidson marking him. And Harrisburg City much more in a flow after really being disjointed for much of the first half. The only noise they made was on the goal that came from Craig Foster, who's still in the game. Now Barrio will chip it into the far end of the field. He's looking for Jamie Thomas, who collects it. Thomas pressure from behind, sends it away to Paul Wilson. Barrio, left side, knocked down from behind by Herrera, and a foul called. Fans, remember Coca-Cola is the official soft drink of Charlotte Independence. Coca-Cola. Experience the wonder of awe.
Referee giving Jorge a little talking to right there.
Yeah.
During that break right there.
But no card issued here in the 58th minute, and fans who came dressed like it was a spring day now bundling up like it's a winter night because it feels that way all of a sudden.
Had to go get my jacket at halftime.
Here's Barrio triggering a ball in the box that's headed out nicely by Calvert. That was a dangerous one that swooped in. Now McLaws plays it to left, knocked away again by Calvert. This is Hughes trying to launch it back into the box, headed out by Kalungi, headed forward where Warshaw will take it back, courtesy of Hughes. Now on the right we have a whistle and an offside call. Wheeler not happy with that one at all. And it's going to be a yellow card here as Wheeler was trying to move in. And he's hit with a foul and a yellow, the second booking of the game.
In almost 5 minutes.
So Aaron Wheeler collects the yellow in the 59th minute. 2-1, Kalungi with a back pass. Here's Mazzell with the wind at his back, sends a laser up the field. Brown chips it forward. Herrera wide to the right. Estrada plays in the box, and the opportunity goes wide to the left. Brown then almost collided with Noble in going for a loose ball, but it's going to be a corner awarded to Charlotte, and Herrera will have another opportunity.
McLaws was the Islander that knocked the ball out of bounds.
Noble was upset. No foul was whistled against Brown, who made some contact sliding for that loose ball. That was a laser of a kick by Mazzell. Now Herrera the corner, and Noble tucks away right away. That really all started with that outlet from Cody Mazzell. That ball had plenty of steam on it, courtesy of the wind, and then Charlotte made the most out of it. Here's Wilson wide to the right. He'll flip the field. It goes over to Jamie Thomas. He passes it on the right side. Across to Josh Hughes in the box. Knocked away by Duckett. Still in the box. Outside, it goes over to Thomas. Into the box. Takedown, and it's going to be, is this going to be a penalty, or is it going to foul? It's going to be marked outside the box against Charlotte.
Very close right there, Jeff.
Yep, it was Wilson who had the opportunity. Paul Wilson was tripped up, and the official ruling is it came just outside the 18. That was a big moment. Harrisburg City can't believe they're not getting a penalty out of this. Wilson now dissenting, and he shoves a Charlotte player.
A little more pushing and shoving going on out there.
Yep.
Referee having to intervene.
Yep. Referee now having to break it up between both sides. Harrisburg City's upset that they aren't getting a penalty out of this. Charlotte's upset that the foul was called at all. But now they realize how dangerous a spot this is on the field. Cody Mazzell out directing traffic on where the wall should be built. As the Islanders look for the equalizer, and taking down what is ruled just outside the box. Herrera now backs away. We'll see who takes the penalty. Barrio usually is the man in this situation. He got away a late, dangerous free kick that Mazzell knocked away just as the first half expired. Also back there, Bobby Warshaw. We'll see who takes the free kick here in a critical moment in this game. Wilson lined up outside the box. It's going to be Barrio firing, and it wound up hitting the feet of the wall. It was knocked down by Kalungi, and he'll chase it along the near sideline and out of play.
They were going low there, Jeff. Looked like they tried to get the wall to jump and send the ball under it.
It was Acra who actually got the biggest part of that. So Young comes up with a big play defensively. Now Calvert ships the ball away from Sean McLaws. They tangle along the corner flag. Barrio goes down. Caleb Calvert in there with Slogic. Away it goes. McLaws tries to play as a cross. That was knocked away by Slogic. Wilson tries to reinsert it into the box. McLaws will try to dribble in after the first pass was nullified, and it's stripped away by Estrada. Here comes Charlotte on a counter as we enter the 63rd minute. Charlotte up 2-1. Herrera chips the ball up the field. Here's Johnson on the left side. Herrera knocked it down. Ball passed away up to Warshaw. Up the field, it's Hughes. Now goes to Warshaw. Plays it to the right, Barrio. To McLaughlin, Macon National. Hughes. Knocked away by Kalungi. Now Slogic tries to keep it in play, and he won't concede the corner. Nearly gave up a rebound, but then feet away from being a penalty based on where the official marked the foul. Wheeler down the left channel. He'll penetrate against Kalungi. Has a trailer. Doesn't see him until late. It's Barrio, but he can't get the ball to him. Now Wilson on the left side will play it in. It's headed by Foster over the net. And once again, Craig Foster inserting himself with a golden opportunity to put the ball in the net and notch an equalizer when the Islanders need it most.
In the 65th minute now.
This is at about the point where we start seeing reserves come into the game, and both teams have emptied their benches and they're warming up along their respective sidelines. But no one has been inserted as of yet. We expect that to change shortly. 2-1 Independence with goals from Caleb Calvert and David Estrada. The latter gave Independence the lead. Metcalf plays it forward. Brown can't track it down. Shane Johnson, who was inserted into the book a moment ago, plays it up the field. Estrada takes it over. Estrada down the right sideline. Estrada still going. He'll play across in, looking for Herrera. That was headed away by Leverock, cut off by Acra. Jan going against his former team, jostling with Wheeler for the ball, and he'll win that 1-on-2 duel. Here comes Caleb Calvert on the left, looking for Slogic, and that pass, or excuse me, Slogic looking for Caleb Calvert was overshot, and he'll go back to Harrisburg City. With 25 minutes and change remaining in regulation, and Independence leading, I want to remind you fans, Nike is a proud sponsor and partner of the USL. Follow at Nike Soccer on Twitter for all the latest Nike Soccer information. Off the goal kick, we have a foul called. Warshaw can't believe it. Davison drew the foul. Now Herrera with a through ball. Gets the ball away from Noble. Tries to track it down before it goes over the end line, but fails. Boy, a good start by Charlotte that time on the quick restart. Warshaw was so disgruntled over the foul that he forgot play was about to start up once again, and Charlotte nearly made Harrisburg City pay.
Brown tried a little fancy footwork, but it just scooted out of bounds.
So Davidson wound up drawing the foul. That led to Brown trying to play it up ahead, and it nearly resulted in a goal. Instead, Noble will kick it into the wind. Ball only goes about 45 yards or so, and Calvert can't win it as it goes over the sideline. Also, I want to remind you fans, Ortho Carolina, proud to be the presenting sponsor and official team physician of your Charlotte Independence. Ortho Carolina, you improved. 67 minutes in, and Charlotte trying to collect its first 3 points of the season as they lead 2-1. And we'll have a foul called against Independence here. I believe that was against Caleb Calvert as Barreal was taken down. The native of Madrid, Barbie Warshaw, lines up the free kick. We mentioned that Barreal played with Real Madrid in his youth years. He spent 14 years in the Real Madrid Academy. In his third season with Harrisburg City, approaches the ball, plays it to the left, headed in by Wheeler. Slogic is there to play it out.
Again, Real Madrid winning El Clasico today, 2-1 victory over FC Barcelona.
Here's Barreal, soft touch to Foster. He's outside the box, knocked away by Slogic, ahead to Calvert. Now it goes over to Ekra, but it was knocked away and stolen right back by Jamie Thomas. Through ball intended for Foster, cut off by Kalungi. Jan Ekra will take it right back. Here comes Herrera up the near sideline with 68 minutes in. And Independence maintaining a 2-1 lead. All scoring came in the first half. Slogic forward for Brown. He was shoved from behind. Herrera goes to the deck. Ekra plays a sky ball up to the far sideline. Dueling for that one is Estrada along with Jamie Thomas. And Harrisburg City ultimately wins possession. And that's going to lead to our first substitution of the night for both sides, in fact. Looks like that Herrera is going off the field. We'll see who comes on.
Looks like one of the Martinez brothers. I could be wrong.
That would be Enzo if that's the case, because he's the only one on the lineup sheet. So it is Enzo Martinez, who started last week against Louisville City. Into the game now to replace Jorge Herrera. And it looks like we have another Charlotte player. Davidson is going to, no, that's Caleb Calvert going out. So Calvert is out after scoring the goal, and Christopher Hellman, the German native, comes in. So 2 Charlotte substitutions made here.
Looks like Mohamed Dabo may be coming in soon for Harrisburg City.
And now we got a free ball for Charlotte at the other end. Ball inserted into the box, intended pass for Hellman. That was forced by Enzo Martinez, but it was kicked out. Paul Wilson is also out of the game for Harrisburg City. And here comes Barreal on a head of steam. Foster along the left side, springs it forward. Wheeler, one touch to Foster, knocked away. Ball still in the box. Pursuing that one to the far end of the field. Now a crossover attempt to the top of the box. It goes across the Warshaw, and his shot went over the net.
Into the mech deck right there.
Oh boy, that was a golden opportunity. And Barreal and Warshaw both hold their hands over their heads, realizing that was a golden opportunity that they missed as that ball went to the left side. And now we see Josh Hughes going off the field.
Bobby Warshaw, native of Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania.
And Mohamed Debu will go in.
Native of Senegal, played some football with Inter Milan.
Played in the Italian league. So Dabo comes in. So Hughes out, Dabo is in. Dabo did not play last week, and Harrisburg City's lost to Richmond. Still 2-1. Header away, duck it, play some head tennis with it. Duel is won momentarily by Kalungi, but on the outside, there to take it right back is McLaws. Leverrock still in the game. Plays it forward. This is Mohamed Dabo just in. He'll trigger a pass to the far end of the field, but awaiting that is Cody Mazzell. He'll have a quick outlet. Estrada will try to track it down, and he does. Pursued from behind on the right side by Jamie Thomas. The speedy midfielder forces a pass. Davidson brings it up. Enzo Martinez will play it on the left. This will go over to Christopher Hellman, but that pass is Aaron, and it was headed back over to Nick Noble. Jack's Militia making some noise here tonight at the Ramblewood Soccer Complex. Pass knocked away by Davidson. Aaron Wheeler gunning for it. Big tie up at midfield. Ultimately, it's won out by Dabo. Harrisburg City has been knocking on the door all throughout the second half. Thomas with the long lead. Mazel comes out of net, and he'll watch it come to his feet, and he'll secure it away. Well, we're bundled up right now, but in a couple of weeks when Charlotte returns home for its first Friday night game of the season against Richmond, you can bet it'll be a tad bit warmer. Here's Brown, nearly getting the ball away from Lever Rock, but Dante managed to recover, stroke it back, and back up the field come the Islanders. Here comes Burrell. He's got Wheeler by his side on the left. He'll play the cross that goes over his head, and it's chipped out by Metcalf. Back comes McLaws, plays it to the far side. Dabo to the top of the field. He'll try to get into the box, knocked away, recovered, chipped back in. Wheeler had the ball at his feet, and then an opportunity by Foster had it kicked out. Getting the ball back, Burrell. Inserts the ball on the left, taken down, no foul. Slogic. Burrell still down.
Looks like he's grabbing his right knee.
Slogic responsible for that dislodging.
Burrell's still down.
And Burrell staying down for a lengthy amount of time. Charlotte will finally concede possession here momentarily as Burrell, as you mentioned, Dave, did not get up quickly, and now that the whistle has sounded, he manages to make his way up to his knees, and that brings about some negative chants from the Charlotte fans and Jack's militia. Going to have another Charlotte substitution here. And this is going to be Lewis Hilton, who started last week. And he's going to replace John Michael Davidson. So Marquez Davidson will go out. And Lewis Hilton, who nearly scored last week against Louisville City, comes in. He had the best opportunity of the game for Independence in the loss to LCFC. And that's 3 reserves now on the field as Charlotte will retake possession. Main play in this one in the second half was a call that went against, in a way, Harrisburg City. It could have easily been a penalty as Paul Wilson drew a foul that was marked just outside the box. The ball by Hellman sent into Brown, ball free at the 6 for a moment, but there to swoop in and take it back is Nick Noble, who nearly ran out of the box with the ball in his hands. Still 2-1, Independence trying to preserve the lead and earn its first win of the season. Davidson to Johnson. This is Dabo with it, who just checked in. Lever Rock, who scored on the corner last year at Transamerica Stadium when Independence first met Harrisburg City on the campus of Charlotte University. Down the right, this is Wheeler. He's marked by Kalungi. Henry just disposes of Wheeler out of bounds without a foul being called, with the assistant right there in front of him. Hellman plays it up the field. Enzo Martinez. Lever Rock pounces on him at midfield. Wide to the right, Estrada knocked away from the side and out of play by Jamie Thomas.
Traveling Harrisburg City fans not happy about that one. They wanted the foul right there.
You can hear them quite vocally in the background.
On that foul on Kalungi.
And it looks like we're going to have a Harrisburg City substitution here coming up in just a moment as a player just reported to the 4th official. We'll get that in just a moment, but first, play restarted before the player could be inserted into the game. This is McLaws, Lever Rock, Dabo at midfield. Now Bobby Warshaw, the captain, plays it for Wheeler, who's playing a little further out from a standard striking position. Dabo chips off, a mishit there by Burrell. And it's going to lead to Charlotte getting the ball back with Lewis Hilton playing it forward. Brown. Here comes Estrada springing up the field. Enzo Martinez in tow. Estrada shut down by Davidson. Looked for Brown, but that was cut off by Lever Rock. 15 minutes remaining, and Charlotte will have its first win of the season if they can hold on. Foster with a long run. Kalungi cuts it off and sends it to the Harrisburg City bench, and that will lead to a new Islander getting on the field. Looks like it's going to be Brett Jankowskis coming in. He came in a reserve role last week.
Native of Sacramento, California, played his college ball at Lander University.
And it's going to be Aaron Wheeler leaving. Wheeler, you could tell his gas tank was nearing empty as the second half wore on, as he had a lot of long runs that got slower and slower as this game wore on.
and took quite a shot in the first half, too. He was holding his head,
Yeah.
and he had to be helped off momentarily by the medical staff.
Here's Duckett as he minds Dabo to the far end of the field. Almost a miss hit. And Harrisburg City has to resort to sending it back to Noble 3/4 of the way up the field just to maintain possession. So that's 3 Harrisburg reserves now in the game. They have 2 more remaining. Back the other way, it is Acra almost causing a turnover. Far end of the field, moving into the box, and then Dabo has it knocked out very nicely by Belial Duckett. Fans, don't forget, keep up to date with the USL all season long by visiting the new USLsoccer.com for everything you need to know about the USL. That's USLsoccer.com.
Mohamed Dabo, 5'9" midfielder from Senegal. Again, as we mentioned earlier, Inter Milan was his previous club in Italian Serie A.
Chip into the box. Foster's got a chance at it at the penalty spot. Now it's moved over to the left, and a lob finish. And it's going to lead to a goal kick. Jamie Thomas had the opportunity there. It was a chip, but he simply mishit it.
Another missed golden opportunity right there by Harrisburg City.
As it lodged over the crossbar and into the mech deck. Jamie Thomas still talking about it up the field. That was the infamous perpetual black second at work there. As Independence maintains the 2-1 lead, but Harrisburg City has kept Charlotte on its heels throughout the course of the last 15 minutes here. Thomas lunges for a ball. Brown going after it as well. We're going to have a foul call. Flag was up. The referee rules advantage. Harrisburg City keeps it. And the ball chipped out of play. Dabo couldn't keep it in. Harrisburg City will maintain possession. Here's Dabo. That ball intercepted by Estrada. He'll play it up the far end. Metcalf looking for Brown. He's onside. He's going to duel with Johnson for the ball. Johnson lunges it up in the air, and then Brown's going to see if this ball goes over the sideline. It doesn't, so Brown has to keep it in play. The chip goes over the heads of several Charlotte players, and ultimately Harrisburg City will get it back here as we come up on the final 10 minutes of regulation. Fans, don't forget, Novant Health is the official healthcare provider of Charlotte Independence. Novant Health, improving the health of our community, one person at a time. Enzo Martinez comes up on Dante Leverock, who brings it up the right channel. As Harrisburg City looks for an equalizer. The pass by Leverock too far for Sean McClaws and out of play.
Wind has died down a good bit. Definitely lending to better ball control for both sides.
Don't forget, last year Harrisburg City played one of the wildest games you'll ever see against Pittsburgh. That was a 2-goal advantage they had with 10 minutes remaining in regulation, and Harrisburg City scored 3 goals in closing time to wind up winning that one in Pittsburgh over Harrisburg City. And then the Islanders came back and had just as wild a win at home over the Riverhounds.
Wow.
So this team, nothing is to be taken for granted. Warshaw plays it right side. Flag is up as Sean McClaws was offside. The assistant winds up blowing that play dead immediately. Also, fans, don't forget that we'll be back here in a couple of weeks for Charlotte versus Richmond. But first, there's some business to take care of here. We'll also have the game recap brought to you by Wells Fargo, as well as the Wells Fargo save of the game in our postgame show. Got a feeling that Cody Mazzell will have a big say-so in that. That tally at the very end of the first half, that could have very well been a goal. Got a Charlotte player down as the ball goes over the end line on an errant pass. Looked like Brian Brown was hurt momentarily. Now he comes up and he wants to know why a whistle wasn't called against Harrisburg City.
Talking to referee Alex Reinhardt. Again, Alex Reinhardt, the referee. The assistant referees tonight, Justin Howard and Gregory Brigman. Alternate official Gustavo Solorio, also here tonight.
Here's Leverock screaming for someone to get in position. Warshaw, the captain of the team who played at Stanford, chip ahead. That's taken over by Kalungi. Then Warshaw squares off with Hellman for the ball. Goes off of Hellman out of play. Warshaw with the quick throw. Kicked up the field. Johnson plays it forward. Slogic will kick it out. Charlotte purely in prevent mode now, it would appear, trying to hold on to this 2-1 lead as they've had only one major opportunity in the second half, and that came from Jorge Herrera. He was one-on-one right at the top of the box with the goaltender for Harrisburg City, Nick Noble. Foster heads it for Burrell.
We are in the final 10 minutes here at the Ramblewood Soccer Complex.
Lewis Hilton churned it forward, trying to get the ball into the attacking end of the field for Independence, where the action has been scant over the last 20 minutes or so. Johnson at midfield. Harrisburg City looking for the equalizer, down 2-1. Jamie Thomas to the far end of the field. Metcalf will mark him. The cross in the box intended for Foster is headed away by Kalungi. Burrell takes the ball back. He and Thomas will exchange places, but then it is kicked up the field. And here's Brown trying to play it across for Martinez, and he'll get some help from Hellman on the outside on a 3-on-3 counter. Martinez with a chip. Hellman will try to catch up with it. He does. Can't put the ball on net, though, on a soft first touch. Hellman keeps it in play. Martinez just over the net.
Right into the militia.
Enzo was set up perfectly, and that was a very good counter as Hellman set up Martinez just fine. The finish was just lacking and was a tad exuberant. Fans chanting Enzo. They've created a song for the former NC State star who started last week, the Uruguay native. His brother Alex Martinez still a part of the team, though he's not a part of the lineup chart tonight.
Natives of Rock Hill, just down the highway here.
Yep, they make the trip up I-77 every morning for training. Far in the field, Estrada, who scored what could be the game-winning goal, had the ball at midfield, and now the head official is walking over toward the Harrisburg City bench. And let's see what we have here. We have a card issued. Is that a card against?
Appears to be against.
Yeah, it was against Harrisburg City.
It was.
It was Leverock. And now action started, but Leverock's leaving the game.
Third booking of the night for the Islanders.
So they called it against Burrell, excuse me. Burrell hit with the yellow, and then we have entering the game, this is going to be number 16. This is Liam Dole, who comes in for Leverock. Doyle started last week at right back and really was the focal point for Richmond's offense, and sure enough, they basically attacked Doyle as much as possible and wound up getting 2 goals out of it within the first 27 minutes of the game.
Liam Doyle, native Isles of Man, UK.
Here's Hellman on the right. Here's a chance opportunity, and Brian Brown had that one sail on him. The quick outlet put up by Noble. So Liam Doyle now in. He's going to play center back as opposed to the right back position he was in last week in Virginia.
Played collegiately at The Ohio State University.
That's right. Claus.
OSU Buckeye.
And Noble will chip it to the far end. Scrambling to get in position is Thomas, but he found a way to do so. Shane Johnson. As we enter 5 minutes and change remaining in regulation. 2-1 Independence with the lead. Estrada on an assist from Jorge Herrera on a goal that came in the 34th minute. Stands to be the game winner if nothing changes. Here's Brown taking a loose ball at midfield. Drops it off. Martinez and Hellman were there, but Johnson ended it all by taking over, and he moves it to the right. Here comes Shane McLaws. Long ball down the right sideline is too far, intended for Jankowskis. Jankowskis, another returning player for Harrisburg City from last season. Now in the 85th minute, and the flag is up for offside. That one blown against Brian Brown. Harrisburg City with one more reserve to make, and it looks like that reserve is now reporting to the scores table, so they'll be out of substitutions in just a moment. This is Warshaw. Pass knocked down. Hilton will play it alongside for Enzo Martinez. Martinez is tripped up, and that'll lead to a foul. Warshaw screaming to himself, and he holds his head down. Better to scream at yourself than scream at the official, because that way you're less likely to go into the book.
And you don't want to do that this late in the game either.
Warshaw played 2 seasons in Sweden, 1 at Norway before venturing back to the States. Patrick Slogic had started play once again, but now Harrisburg City is going to bring its final reserve into the game, as it looks like Shane Johnson's going off the field, and it's going to be number 11 going in. This is going to be Matthew Bolduc, a product of the University of Massachusetts, coming in. So now Coach Bill Batcher has emptied his bench, and he's made his 5 allotted substitutions.
Bolduc, native of Dublin, New Hampshire, from the beautiful Northeast.
Can Independence hold on to this 2-1 lead? Slogic with a high free kick that's headed out nicely. Debo sends it away. McLaws taken down is Noble, and that's going to lead to a foul and perhaps more here for Hellman. Referee just points at his head saying, Hellman, use your head. Don't make fouls like that. Noble kicks the ball into the wind here, which is still a bit to deal with tonight at Ramblewood Soccer Complex. Estrada plays it forward. Duckett to Kalungi, and the clearance by Metcalf. Up the field, Estrada with it, trying to cross midfield. Metcalf will provide the kick that will do that. Martinez can't advance the ball forward. Eckler tries, cannot. Harrisburg City retakes possession with less than 3 minutes remaining. Before we reach the 90th minute, we'll see how much time will be added on. Noble plays it to the left, and then it's headed out.
That was Hellman headed it out.
And now we'll have another Charlotte substitution coming on. Looks like Brian Brown is going to go off the field, and coming on, Noberto Ochoa. And Brian is not exactly setting world records in venturing to the bench.
Now just going to go to a steady walk-off.
And the referee now, in fact, is telling Brian, let's move it along there, Cha-Cha, as Dennis Miller would say.
Brown walking off again now.
Yep, he got a brief caution, and now he's actually leaning and pulling up his socks before he goes off the field.
Harrisburg City fans do not like that.
So now Independence will have 1 substitution remaining, as Ochoa comes in as a reserve for the 2nd time in 2 games. McLaws with the throw. Noble will chip it down. Duckett forward. Enzo Martinez plays it ahead. Estrada will try to launch a counter and does. Martinez in the heart of the Harrisburg attack drops it off. Estrada penetrates in, and he tried to leave it for Martinez but left it a little wide. Enzo will catch up to it here. We're in the 89th minute. Martinez looking for room. Estrada goes into the box. David pushed off the ball very nicely. That was done very well by Burrell, and then kicked up the field. Foster can't catch up to it, so now Kalungi will play it back from Mazzell. His clearance to midfield. Patrick Slogic is there. We're in the 89th minute. We've had a scoreless 2nd half. Hellman will head it forward. Martinez will win the race to the ball. Oh, they're going to rule him offside. Just a tad offside there was Enzo Martinez. Otherwise, he would have had a golden opportunity to finish this one off.
Still waiting to hear the stoppage time amount from the scorer's table.
Noble with a long ball that's going to go straight in on net, and Mazzell is there to secure it. Jack's Militia singing the Charlotte Independence fight song. Militia causing a commotion. Can we get promotion? That's how it goes. Ekra wins the ball at midfield, trying to play it to the left, but the ball will be taken over by the Islanders. Debo tried to swoop in and take it back from Jankowskis. It was kicked out of play. Should have an announcement on added time any moment now. McLaws forward to Debo. That's kicked out by Hilton. This is Warshaw with it. 3 minutes of added time. It couldn't go by quick enough here for Independence. They remember what happened last week in added time against Louisville City, when LCFC scored at the death. A whiff on the clearance attempt by Hilton, and that forces Kalungi to knock the ball out, and it's going to be a Harrisburg corner. Only their 3rd corner of the game. Boy, Hilton. And now we see Nick Noble coming forward out of net, almost as an extra attacker here.
Came well past midfield, too.
Yep, now he's venturing back. Burrell setting up in the right corner as we are in injury time. Independence trying to close it out for its first win of the season here against Harrisburg City. Big corner here. Burrell chips it in. It'll be headed out by Estrada. Cut back off. Debo had the chance. He was looking for a handball on a ball that was hit. It appeared by Acra. No call made. Acra brings it up the field. Here comes Hilton. As time winds down, Estrada just keeping it to himself, waiting for Martinez to get on side. Now plays it for Enzo. That was blocked. And moving the ball forward will be Warshaw. Down to the right. Here's Noble looking for room. He'll play across, goes short with it, into the box. Play is made, duck it over to Hilton, who clears it 40 yards up the field. It's taken back by Debo, but then his entrance is cleared into the substitution era by Jan Anka, and now we're going to have the final Charlotte substitution of the game. Looks like that Estrada will go out and Alec Bartlett will come in. Bartlett was a recent signee by the team, and now Charlotte has exhausted its substitutions. 2-1 to score. In the 90th minute, Alec Bartlett comes in. This is his first appearance for Independence. 2-1, Independence with the lead. Can they hold on? Jamie Thomas with the throw. Launched high in the air. Headed away momentarily. Now up the field. Hellman tries to bring it. Can't. That's going to be taken back. Bimbo is in the game. He launches it in on net, and it just trickled wide. Cardell Bimbo just missed it wide to the left. And that could be the last opportunity. He realized how little time there is remaining, and Bimbo launched one that just missed the crossbar to the left side. Cody Mazzell dove for it. Now the referee looking at his watch. And we'll see what happens after Cody Mazzell kicks this ball.
Cardell Bimbo, native of Kingston, Jamaica.
That's right.
Played with Waterhouse FC. Hopefully I said that correctly. One of 3 Jamaicans on this Harrisburg City squad.
Ball headed forward by Alec Bartlett. Kick forward. Harrisburg City will have one more opportunity. Slogic tries to shut that down. Can't do it. Debo with Inca. Springing up on him. Harrisburg City will have one chance. Here's a cross that's headed out by Duckett. Will that lead to a final whistle? Not yet. Ball punched forward to midfield, and there's the final whistle. Independence has gained the victory as they down Harrisburg City 2-1.
First victory of the season. First victory against Harrisburg City FC for the Charlotte Independence.
So David Estrada will get credit for the game winner. A major victory here tonight for Independence after losing in such heartbreaking fashion last week. Jorge Herrera assist on the game winner from David Estrada, who did not have a game winner last season playing for Sacramento Republic in the Orange County Blues, but tonight he winds up getting the game winner. And Charlotte Independence gains the victory here tonight in front of a dedicated crowd at the Ramblewood Soccer Complex. They were on hand to witness it, and Independence gains an important 3 points as they down Harrisburg City 2-1. We'll come back for our Wells Fargo save of the game and our Wells Fargo recap as Independence gains its first win of the year down at Harrisburg City 2-1 here as you're watching Charlotte Independent Soccer on YouTube. Charlotte Independence players milling about after Independence grabs its first win of the season. They improved to 1-1 on the year, now 3 points in the standings after downing Harrisburg City 2-1 here tonight. Jeff Hamlin here with Dave Hodges. Time now for our game recap presented by Wells Fargo. And tonight all the scoring came in the first half, Dave, and David Estrada wound up scoring the game-winning goal in a critical moment in the game as Charlotte really controlled the final 40 minutes or so of the first half after getting off to a rocky start in this one, giving up a goal 3 minutes in. David Estrada scored the game winner from Jorge Herrera.
He really did. It's kind of the game itself was kind of mirror images where, as you mentioned, the Independents controlled most of the game for the first half. Yet for the second half, it seemed like Harrisburg City came out with a lot of the pressure, but just could not find the back of the net to equalize, and they go home with the loss tonight to the Charlotte Independents.
Our Wells Fargo save of the game came from Cody Mazzell, and it came right at the end of the first half, and as we figured, it would prove to be a pivotal save as Harrisburg City had a late corner, their only corner of the first half, and it went in on net. It was kicked by, or I should say it was not a corner, it was actually Jose Barril with a free kick. Came about 30 yards from net. Barril sent in a nice chip that was nearly headed in by Jamie Thomas, but it was saved by Mazzell right at the goal line, one of 3 saves that he made tonight. So Cody Mazzell gets our Wells Fargo save of the game. And fans, we thank you for watching. Next week, Independence will be on the road for the first time as they will take on FC Cincinnati. That'll be on next week, and our next home game will be on on Saturday, April the 16th. They will go up against Charleston Battery, so we'll be back with you 2 weeks from tonight for Independence versus Charleston Battery, the first matchup of the season between those two teams. Dave, thank you very much.
Thank you, Jeff. It was quite a pleasure, and love to come out here and talk some Charlotte Independence soccer.
Now, it's my pleasure, and we're going to look forward to bringing you another broadcast next week. Next week, you'll tune in, though, to the FC Cincinnati channel for their broadcast of Independence versus FC Cincinnati in the first ever game in the Queen City Cup Challenge.
I know I'll be watching that.
Absolutely. It's going to be a vital one between those two teams, and we'll be watching that one next week as well. So for all our viewers and for Dave and also our director, Mark Rowland, we thank you for joining us here tonight. All our viewers from Charlotte out to San Jose, California, hope you enjoyed this one as Independence wins its first game of the season, downing Harrisburg City 2-1. Good night from the Queen City.